Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Fancy. Thank you so much for being here first. And oh, wait a minute. Whose birthday is it? I forgot just that fast. Whose birthday is it? There was a birthday yesterday. Well, actually, it was 20 minutes to a birthday yesterday. And well, I didn't forget. Wait. Don't tell me. No, you better, because I didn't forget. Hey, Church Nelly, thank you so much for being here. Um, Patty Askew, thank you so much for being here. Yes, I'm very proud of them too. Thank you, Lakiva 1000. A heart problem. Who has a heart problem? And uh, oh, and I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, we'll be praying for you. You know that. We will be praying for you. I'll be praying for you, praying for you. Reminds me of one of my favorite gospel songs. Okay, well, we better get on with it then. Hello, Donna Reese. I can't remember whose birthday it was. Huh, nobody's going to tell me either, huh? Okay. I mean, I could check, but you know me, I'll be at it all day if I try to do that. Yes, and Gromley. And laughter. Don't forget laughter. Prayers and laughter. Okay, so H Knight, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for 27 months membership. Claudia Sams. Oh, we did already. Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much. All right, so let's get on with it. I'm going to make myself disappear here. And so, King Charles and William's attempt to block Harry and Meghan's future royal tours have failed. Well, we have it on good authority that the Sussexes are in great demand, as evident by the fact. And see, let me just point this out too. We only know that someone has asked them to please come to Colombia. But just imagine some of the places where they said, well, you know, if we're ever in the neighborhood, but for now, sorry, we got work to do, but we'll get back to you. I'm sure they were more polite than that. But yeah, they are probably in great demand. And we just don't know. We just don't know because, of course, there's no reason for them to say, well, you know, they don't have to do that. It is implied. It is just understood that they are the most popular royal couple anywhere. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say they're just the most popular couple. Hello, Big Mama. Thank you so much for being here. So, take a look at this. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle announced new faux royal tour in infamous crime capital, the latest location that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will visit on their latest royal tour has been revealed, and they will attend a conference on ending violence against children. I don't know how to put this in a way that won't sound kind of snarky or cheeky, but has anybody seen the news from the United Kingdom lately? Huh? Has anyone seen the news from the United Kingdom lately? Um, I think what's her name? Sweet Brown said it best. Lord Jesus, there's a fire. There is a fire. And I mean to tell you, uh, Johnny Cash said, and it burns, burns. And see, I just want you all to know that one of the things that me, as just I guess, a person who likes to think of this world as a global village, um, in the US, we don't see on our televisions the type of crime that you all see in the UK. And let me explain that. If you look at the news here in the US, you would think that only black people riot, only black people commit crimes, only black people do all sorts of debauchery. And of course, the white people don't do anything. But I'm telling you, if there's anything I've learned from watching the news or reading about events in the UK over the years, I think poverty and violence, poverty and crime is very universal. It is very universal. It doesn't matter if you're black or you're white. It really doesn't matter. Take a look at this. Look. Thugs hijack grief. Is that a young white man in handcuffs? Wait, that's not America. I mean, if they have to go to somebody black's house, if they have to go to a black family's house and wake you up out your sleep so they can accuse you of something, they'll do it. This is rare for Americans to see this because they don't show this side of America. It is rare. If they do, there's usually a lot of black people in the crowd. They'll try to make sure that they focus on, well, actually, it could be 3 black people, but you'll see them so much, you'll think it was 80 of them. So, yeah. People are not just doing this out of grief, but there is a system that has been working against people, working class and poor people. And all it takes is for an event like we've had in the past week or so, where those poor children, oh God, I can't even make my mouth say the words, but just like with the George Floyd, all it takes is something to trigger a lot of pent up anger and resentment that working class and poor people have. And you can have anarchy anywhere. You can have it anywhere by anybody. The common ingredient is lack of opportunity, youth unemployment, and so on. And as they say, thugs hijacking grief. They never say that when it's black people. That's just the way they are. Right? They never say that when it comes to black people, black youth. They never say that. The lack of opportunity, the lack of jobs and such, they don't say anything like that. They say, "Oh, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps," right? This is a very real thing that's happening, and I don't like to see this happen anywhere. You know how they always say, "Oh, see how they burn up their own community? They destroy." This is not the first time this has happened in the UK. I remember that very old furniture store. What was that one about? It was a couple of cities that was like engulfed in flames. I mean, I don't mean the entire city. I forgot what triggered that, but it wasn't so long ago, if I recall, there was some other event where there was fires into the night. It happens in France all the time. Happens a lot of places and you just don't hear about it. It's not exactly anarchy, it's just frustration. It's brought on by a lack of opportunity. And so, yes, a situation like that may have been the trigger. There's always some type of trigger. But this is what happens when they don't listen to people. when the politicians don't listen to people and they take people for granted, cities will burn. Raffaella Bertoni, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. So, yeah, I'm very sorry to see this happen. I really am. Um, I'm always on the side of working class people. You all know that. I'm not exactly, what was her name? Norma Ray or whoever. What was that movie where the lady was standing on that desk for the unions or whatever? I'm not exactly that, right? But I think they better start listening to people. They better start listening to people. Yes. Was that the one I'm thinking about? And I saw more white people out there rioting and looting than I saw black people. My eyes did not deceive me. And there were multiple fires, irreplaceable, um, you know, things were lost at that time. That was about 10 years ago, right? I think that was about 10 years ago. But I remember seeing something, and I remember they said some family owned furniture store that had been like so vital to the community. Everybody shopped there at some time or another, and it was destroyed in all of the violence. Anyway, you know, I hope people stay safe. If you are watching Royal Sussex right now, and you live in a community that is currently going through something like that, make sure you stay in the house. Stay in the house. It's the safest place to be. Let me see. Yeah, TMCD. Animals, hooligans, thugs, all of those things. I mean, look at how sympathetic this is. Look at how sympathetic. Thugs hijacking grief. There are some strains on society right now. And until they address that, I mean, everything from the NHS right down to people paying for their utilities like electricity and gas and such, until they start paying attention to that, they may have even more of it. I'm surprised it took this long. But like I said, there's always some trigger that causes this to happen. uh what happened to the old one, Church Nelly? I'm jumping into the middle of the conversation, but what happened to the old one? Anyway, so the insults are already flying. The latest location that Prince Harry and Meghan will visit on their latest royal tour has been revealed, and they will attend a conference on ending violence against children. Now, I said a long time ago, and I stand by what I said. The Sussexes, they do take risk. They do take risk. Um, They are not hiding behind the walls of their home. They are going places, they are doing things. I didn't like when they went to South Africa and Harry was flying off to another city by himself, because, I looked at it was like a little turboprop plane. It wasn't because it was South Africa. That's not the point. But it was not like a luxurious jet plane. And Harry was like, okay, I got to go see these people. I'm going to go see these people. Um, I try not to fly in anything smaller than a 787 Dreamliner. But the point that I'm trying to make is that when they work, and they're, you know, some of the stances that they have taken could be considered political, and royals are not supposed to be political. But to be fair, there are other members of the family that, in their own way, it's kind of hard to be of service and in some way not step on someone's toes, politically speaking. Like when William wrote that letter about peace in the Middle East and all that kind of stuff. It's time for what did he say, to stop the war or whatever, and look at how that turned out, you know. And I would pat him on the back, except he wasn't really taking a risk. He was taking a calculated risk to try to outdo his brother. But my point is, I admire them for the work that they do, because they could just be the Hollywood producers they want to be and not go places and do things, but they're not hiding. They're the only place that they are worried about visiting, ironically, is the United Kingdom. Remember, they were like, "Oh, it's not safe in LA for them. Why would they go to LA? There's paparazzi in LA." So far, they haven't seemed to have a problem. Nothing more than what they would have encountered over there. They've had what, a couple of intruders. Well, so did the Queen. The last time the guy had a crossbow. So I don't think they're. I think they're probably better off instead of worse off, right? So anyway, cheers to Harry and Meghan. Do what you do, and don't let anybody discourage y'all. Hi, Joan Garcia. Yulibi, thank you for being here. Okay. So the last trip it wasn't a royal tour. People were not sure what to call it, but it wasn't a royal tour, right? Nigeria welcomes Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Yes, they received a very, very warm welcome. And I want to refresh your tea. Let me refresh your tea. Happy to be back on the royal tour. Meghan beams as she waves to crowds during first engagement on 3-day visit to Nigeria, as Harry evokes memories of Diana in mental health speech to kids. I saved these. I saved all of these. The Daily Mail was in a feeding frenzy. A feeding frenzy. They made a lot of money from Harry and Meghan's tour. They were actually civil on occasion. They weren't their usual messy, nasty selves. They were actually okay for a minute, just for a minute. But check it out. Sussex is in Nigeria. Actually, I think this should have been the first one, right? Sussex is in Nigeria. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle arrive in Nigeria for a tour after a whistle-stop UK visit. In other words, Meghan refused to leave the airport. She stayed in the Royal Lounge. You know, they have a lounge just for royals at Heathrow. She stayed in the Windsor Lounge and waited for her husband to complete his business, and then it was off to Nigeria. Couple visit country's military headquarters and promote Invictus game. See what I mean? Very civil, very civil. All right. And then, of course, royal tour begins. Sussex's royal tour in all but name. Now, after all of that, they wanted to make sure Sussex's royal tour in all but name. And then, of course, they wanted to make sure, after couples' secret rendezvous in the UK, the only secret is Meghan refused to leave the airport. It wasn't safe for her to leave the airport, so she stayed in the lounge and waited for her husband. And of course, the Duchess of Selfies. Are you guys getting excited? I just want to remind you of everything from Nigeria. We're not going to do all of the photos and everything, just these headlines. They were changing them like every hour at some point. They were changing them. Happy to be back on tour. All smiles on tour. Sussex is on safari. Okay, this one was a bit racist, okay? I'm just going to say it. They were doing good, but it's still the Daily Mail. And at some point, there's going to be some element of racism somewhere. And here's a good example: non working royals. See how the knives have come out? Non working royals, Harry and Meghan, will tour Commonwealth nation Nigeria after being invited by the government to take part in cultural activities. Days after Harry's UK Invictus event, so will Meghan join him in Britain first? Uh-uh. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. This one should have been first. Yeah, I think this one should have been first. Actually, I forgot what order they were in, but Sussex's on safari racist much? I think so. Right? They're so irrelevant, Church Nelly. They're so irrelevant. If they're so irrelevant, why are they spending so much time changing the headlines every 5 or 10 minutes? Tale of Two Tours. Yes, it is a tale of two tours. There were the popular royals. They were in Nigeria being showered with affection. And William seemed like he was acting out a scene from a slasher movie or some psychopath um, drama or something. He was reenacting the scene from some type of psychological thriller. Rock star welcome in Nigeria versus patsies and shovels in, oh no, is it pasties? It's some kind of pastry. Pasties and shovels in Cornwall. Stark difference in Harry and William's royal tours lay bare different lives of service brothers led service brothers lead, that is. As experts say, Sussexes finally have half in, half out dream Queen forbade. You see there? Not only are they saying it was a rock star welcome, but they're also implying that this is the half in, half out. Well, because they didn't want the half in, half out. And we don't know that the Queen thought that was a bad idea as much as everybody around her. But who knows? It could very well have been the Queen. And the Queen did them a really good favor because God will do for you. That's right. God will do for you what you cannot do for yourself. And if you don't have enough sense to say, nope, I don't think I like that half in, half out, well, then God will make up your mind for you. And he did. And they didn't get what they wanted. And now they got what they wanted. Not really, but you know what I mean. So um, life wouldn't be life if there wasn't for ironies, right? Harry's military visit. Prince Harry flies to Nigeria's no-go zone. Okay, there's another insult. Plagued by Boko Haram before cracking jokes with injured soldiers, but leaves Meghan, I'm surprised they didn't say abandoned, but leaves Meghan 120 miles behind after couple enjoyed rock star welcome to country on their quasi royal tour. Okay, it was, what did they say before? All in royal tour and all but name. Now it's a quasi. I tell you, if nothing else, they are consistent, right? Now it is a quasi royal tour. Lynn E., good evening, Team Royal Sussex. Beautiful evening, all. Blessings and protection for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex as they embark on universal service. Thank you very much, Lynn E. And it is true. Service is indeed universal. Okay. Meghan is mobbed by fans as she poses for selfies in, are you ready for it? Quasi. Say it with me. Meghan is mobbed by fans as she poses for selfies in a quasi royal African tour while Prince Harry enjoys volleyball with wounded soldiers, as fans say the whole country melted when Duchess revealed her Nigerian heritage. So that was kind of a half insult, half compliment. Well, I wouldn't even say it was a compliment, but anyway, complimentary, somewhat positive, and still negative at the same time. Uh, Carolita Simone, thank you so much for the super sticker and thank you for being here. Okay. Meghan brings the sunshine. Duchess visits Lagos State Governor's house with Harry in a stunning yellow dress as she honors her Nigerian roots by ditching neutral colors for bright tones after arriving for day 3 of I think they found their sweet spot. Quasi royal tour. Yes, I think that's the one. I could have just imagined them all in their newsroom or in front of their PCs, all of them like, yeah, yeah, quasi. Meghan opens up about her very chatty, sweet children, Archie, 5, Lily, 2, during talk with women in leadership event in Nigeria, as she describes the nation as my country while making solo appearance. So, oh, wait, but there's more. And then Meghan thanks Nigerians for welcoming her to my country. Okay, I think this one probably was first or second. Anyway, well, I think this one was actually, I think they were the same. Duchess of Sussex, who says she's 43% Nigerian, tells audience in Abuja she hopes she can do justice to being a role model as she attends event without Harry. All right. And then, of course, never mind faux royal. Okay, faux royal tour, quasi royal tour, a royal tour in all but name only. So they've had 3 different ways to all they had to say was just Harry and Meghan are on tour. They didn't have to throw the royal in there. It's not a royal tour. It's not an official royal tour. They are royals. They are on tour. But anyway, Meghan tour of Nigeria was positively presidential. Ian Gallagher lifts the lid on the Duchess's increasingly stateswoman-like visit to place she now calls my country. I tell you, I could not sleep. I did not. I think there was a few of us who just could not sleep during this visit. Meghan's vibrant visit. Meghan's vibrant visit. I kind of think the people at the Daily Mail fancied the yellow dress. Okay, and so again, Nigeria, a quasi faux, in all but name only royal tour. But back to reality. They had to go back to Montecito. And as we all know, in Montecito, there are no leaks. There are no leaks. This is why they were able to go to record a CBS This Morning show without anybody being the wiser. Nobody ratted them out. Welcome to America. What is this? Snitches get stitches. So, what came out of that trip to Nigeria? Well, Meghan was more of a princess than she ever was before. As a matter of fact, I think she's a princess, 6 times over? Yeah. She's a princess, a royal daughter, royal princess across the sea, all of those things. She has names and titles. For this to be a faux royal tour, I love the irony. Meghan came back even more royal with more titles than she started off with. You couldn't make this up. You could not make this up. for all of their cheek, for all of their snarky comments, one of the most beautiful moments that I have ever seen in my life was when the three kings plus one came to this banquet, this fundraiser, something that rarely ever happens, that they leave their territory so that they can celebrate their daughter and their princess across the sea. I'm getting goosebumps. I am getting goosebumps. And as for Harry, well, he has only increased his stature on the world stage as Meghan has as well, but he has also increased his stature as a warrior, the warrior prince, a global statesman, warrior prince, someone who is very well regarded in the military community. And as you guys, I was actually in the spaces yesterday, and I said there, don't know if I've ever said it here, I'm pretty sure I have, that the big mistake that that institution and the Royal Rota made is underestimating the camaraderie, the brotherhood and sisterhood amongst the military community here in the US. Harry has a community here. He's always had that community. Harry has had this relationship with the military community, the military families here in the US for over 10 years. For over 10 years. And there's nothing that that institution can say or do that is ever going to come between that. And they tried really hard with the Pat Tillman Award, and all they were able to do was to remind people just how wonderful Harry is, just how great he's been, just how much he has given back to humanity. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to. And he continues to do that. That was a very short-sighted move on their part. There's an old saying, when one member of the family serves, everybody serves. And the royal rodents, the derangers, they just cannot wrap their brains around it. They are in denial. They're foolish anyway. But you're not going to come between Harry and the military. Ever. Ever. Having a polo field day. Oh, yeah, I almost forgot about this one. And let's not forget they had polo. And then they were able to take all of those wonderful gifts they received on this not a royal tour, on this faux quasi in all but name only royal tour. They were able to take all of these gifts back to Montecito, to their palatial home in Montecito, where there are no leaks. And they lived happily ever after. I'm telling you, it's just, you couldn't make this up. And of course, again, as a couple on the global stage, you have two very well-respected, well-regarded statespeople, statesman, statewoman, very well-respected, global leaders. They have been recognized by everybody from Time Magazine to this award and that award. People recognize them as a couple that are here as a force for good, So, oh, you know what? Got to do that, don't I? I should. There you go. A force for good. So I hope they never get it because the more they push against the Sussexes, it just makes them stronger. So maybe it's best if they never get it. We'll just keep it to ourselves. Yeah, we'll keep it to ourselves. Okay. All right. And oh, wait a minute. Wait. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. Okay. That works. That works. Hot diggity dog. Mm, okay. Okay. Moving on. Moving on. And off to Colombia next. So, farewell, Nigeria. Hello, Colombia. And it is going to be a wang dang doodle. There was a blues singer. Actually, is she still alive? Her name is Coco Taylor. And she had a way of saying a celebration. She said, it's going to be a wang dang doodle. And that's what all we could expect is a wang dang doodle when the Sussexes get to Colombia. Now, Meghan Markle continues her quiet luxury streak in Ralph Lauren for CBS News Sunday morning interview with husband Prince Harry talks online bullying. Um, this is from Women's Wear Daily. I want to share with you this, right? And then take a look here. This is, oh, I think this is, um, oh gosh, is it Vanity Fair? I think this is Vanity Fair. Meghan Markle makes rare comment about protecting her children, Archie and Lily. All you want to do as parent, is protect them, the Duchess of Sussex said. And then let me see. I forgot which one this was. But anyway, just wanted you to see that there is quite a buzz about CBS Sunday morning. And don't worry if you cannot watch it while it's airing live. Well, you know what I mean. The recording is airing on their show live. Um, I do believe that all of the segments that they do, you can watch them on YouTube in their entirety. I am very sure about that. If you can't watch it immediately, believe me, by the end of the day or the next day, you will be able to see the entire interview. But either way, we'll talk about it. I like the, you know what? I know why I have these photos here. I like the way they kind of defer to each other. I love the way that they look to one another when they're speaking. You see that? I love that. Megan's eyes says, Megan's eyes says, my husband, he's so smart, he's so intelligent. I'm so proud of him. And Harry's eyes say the same thing. Harry's eyes are saying the same thing. I'm sure of that. Right? Right. That's what his eyes are saying. Yeah, that's what his eyes are saying. I feel the same way about you too, boo. Right? Right. That's what he's saying. Okay, so the Madam Vice President took a photo with Madam Secretary and Mr. President Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. Um, so, as you know, they have already endorsed her like 5 minutes after Biden said he was stepping back or not running. and stepping out of the race. And this was in Houston. I believe this was in Houston after Sheila Jackson Lee's funeral. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. Yeah, they were. He was mimicking the same thing she said. I'm sure they were saying the same thing to each other. Oh, and here we go. Here we go. As I said earlier, racist much? Today is the day I hope you will donate. So it appears that some of the Karens, some of the haters, some of the MAGA people were upset because the vice president of these United States is wearing this beautiful gold necklace, bold graduated link necklace, yellow gold. And I forgot how much they said it cost, but it's beautiful and it's what she deserves. I mean, she's had a long career, she's worked hard, and she continues to work for the American people. And so, obviously, she was gifted this beautiful necklace, perhaps from her husband or whoever, maybe her father, her family. Somebody gave her this nice necklace. Maybe she bought it for herself. Whatever the case may be, it's hers and nobody else's. What difference does it make what she's wearing? She's a grown woman. She is accomplished. She she has done the work. So she's wearing something nice that pleases her, something that makes her feel good about herself. And along comes the Karens with all of their, you know, malarkey, as President Biden would say. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Melissa Murray. You guys remember Professor Melissa Murray, right? I see we're doing the Meghan Markle thing with Vice President Kamala Harris clothing and jewelry. I hope she announces her VP pick in a tiara. Professor Melissa Murray is messy when she wants to be. So she wants Kamala just to, you know, get it under the skin of all of those people. She would prefer that the vice president appears with a tiara to announce her VP pick. I wish that she could do that, but it would not. It would not go well. But you get the point that she's trying to make. But then, of course, I started thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, I can see why people would say that they're doing the Meghan Markle on her, but they have been doing the um, educated, strong black woman on Meghan the same way they were doing that to a lot of people, including Carol Moseley Braun, the first United States senator of African descent since Reconstruction. We had gone over 100 years without a black senator in the United States Senate until Carol Moseley Braun showed up. And then all of a sudden, they couldn't stop talking about everything she wears, everything she does, where she lives, where she vacations. They stayed on her case constantly, right? And even Rush Limbaugh, every time he mentioned Carol Moseley Braun, he would play the Jeffersons theme. Y'all know what he was trying to say, that she started moving on up because of the Senate seat that she had. Well, she was a state senator, I believe, before she became a United States senator. And then, of course, didn't they do the same thing to Michelle Obama? Michelle Obama, and they really did the, if you want to call it the Meghan thing on Michelle Obama, although Michelle, I believe, went through it first because they were saying that her mother is moving into the White House, which she did. But, as president, you don't have to tell anybody who you invite to your home, like President, oh, I can't even call him that, but the Orange Menace, he had his brother's funeral in the White House. He had his brother's funeral at the White House. You would think something like that would be reserved for the first family, or at the very least for the President of the United States. He had them bring his brother's corpse to the White House and had a funeral there because he could. And he even did something that I don't think I've ever seen a president do in my lifetime. The Orange Menace was actively campaigning from the White House. Most presidents never do that. I don't know any president that has ever done that. And enters Donald Trump, right? Now we know that it goes on, but the obvious in your face campaigning is is considered pretty tacky, but he did it. And they didn't say anything. But here's Kamala Harris, who is wearing this beautiful gold necklace because she can, because she wants to. And they're doing the Meghan Markle, the Michelle Obama, the Carol Moseley Braun, and just about any other black people that's ever had anything, the Oprah Winfrey, to the vice president. They always do. They always do, especially when it comes to black women. They don't want you to get comfortable with your greatness. They just can't let that happen. We've seen this again and again. I mean, take a look here. Couldn't buy American. Kamala Harris spent $500 on copper cookware at store when she was in Paris, including a serving dish that cost a whopping $367. Say it isn't so. That during the global pandemic, when most retailers were very wary of their future, that she would be polite enough to visit a shop in Paris, bringing all of this attention, all of this free advertising to this shop. Again, at a time when we're in the throes of a global pandemic, how dare she? This was 2021, by the way. And then, oh, Peggy Noonan. Peggy Noonan. If you don't know Peggy Noonan, she's been around forever. Didn't she die? I think she just died, right? Anyway, Peggy Noonan, she is very conservative, although I never knew how conservative she was until she started talking about black people. Peggy Noonan says in the Wall Street Journal, which is a very conservative paper, and I think now it's owned by Rupert Murdoch, Vice President Harris needs to make herself appear more chastened and humbled. Is that fancy for she needs to be 50% of herself? Is that what that means? She needs to be less than the brilliant beacon of hope for countless young women who can see representation matters, can see themselves in the next president of the United States? Why is that so difficult? Why is that so difficult? She needs to be more chastened and humbled. Why? And of course, there's a woman telling another woman what to do. And even worse, Esmeralda, you said it. She means uppity. Why is she being so uppity? Exactly. Exactly. Why is she being so uppity? It does not matter how accomplished you are. And this is why I hate the N word. I hate the N word because that word really means that no matter how much you have accomplished in life, you're still a second class citizen. That's what that word means. Now, it is worse than what I'm saying right now, but I'm giving you the very sanitized version. It means that no matter what you've done, no matter how much you have accomplished, um, you're still a second class citizen. That's what it means. Former Republican Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann says Vice President Kamala Harris and Meghan Markle are very entitled women, and normal people are fed up with them. So, this is a very subtle gaslighting, trying to tell people what they should think. If you haven't had a thought about them, trust me, I am a white woman and I know what's best. And what's best is that these people should be exposed for being too entitled. Are we still doing this? Are we still doing this? I think this was what, maybe 2022 or whatever year it was. I've had this for a while. I didn't look this up. This is something that I just kept filed away. So when I do need to reference certain things, a lot of times I can just go dig around. I'm like, this will fit nicely. And look at how seamlessly this fit into the conversation. This is why I keep records, because I don't want to forget. I don't want to overlook. I don't want to let them get away with that stuff. Enters the buffoon. Camilla Tominley. Kamala Harris is the Meghan Markle of American politics. Uh-huh. And you look like you work in one of them houses. Or at the very least, a truck stop. This doesn't seem like a writer of one of the most prominent yet trashy newspapers in all of the United Kingdom. This seems more like someone who works at the I-80 truck stop. Dunkin' Donuts? Oh, no, no, no. I know. Cracker Barrel. And I do mean Cracker Barrel. She looks like she works at the Cracker Barrel. Not to disparage the hardworking men and women that work at Cracker Barrel, but she has definitely given me Cracker Barrel. This looks like someone who will turn on pump number 2 and also sell me some scratch offs, right? Yeah, this looks like someone who works at the gas station. Elaine Parker, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the super sticker. Yes, big head Kamala, I'm sorry, Kamala, Camilla Tominey. Big head Camilla Tominey wants to do this comparison. It's all part of a language that they use to make sure that they signal who needs to be put in their place and who needs to be put down. Just like on occasion, I remind people that one of those massive heads is missing from Easter Island, and I think I know where it is. One of those massive monuments from Easter Island seems like it just stood up and walked away. They always said those things have legs. I guess they do. Because I found one of them in the flesh whose flesh is unclear, but in the flesh. So if you're ever in Easter Island and it looks like there's a tooth missing, if you ever look at those monuments on Easter Island and you feel like, looks like there's a tooth missing, well, now you know why. Now you know why. And of course, let me remind you all that Colombia has seen members of the royal family before, like, for instance, Ford Fiesta. Ford Fiesta, with the personality of a train wreck, has gone there before with all that phoniness that she has. And one of the squatties wanted to make it very clear, concerned trolling about the safety of countries won't work this time. If a trip to Colombia was good enough for the UK government and Sofiesta, then it's good enough for Harry and Meghan. And let's not forget Chuck, Brenda, and Phil's tour of Nigeria. So, yeah, this is Miss Sunshine herself in Nigeria. And then take a look here. How interesting. Muriel shared this today. No wonder they are salty. They removed tampons plaque in Colombia. Well, plaque unveiled by Prince Charles in Colombia honoring soldiers who died during a take of continent. Oh, okay. Wait. Cartagena. Um, may have to be removed after fury from locals. So they took a good look at this plaque, and I'm pretty sure it was bad enough that they put it there, but that Charles' name is on it. Well, they didn't want that colonizer's name on their plaque, so they wanted it removed, and remove it they shall. Okay, now I cannot see that. Let me see here. Uh, okay, there we go. So, a controversial plaque unveiled last week by Prince Charles in the Colombian port city of Cartagena has been removed after local opposition. The plaque memorializes a British naval officer and his troops who laid siege to the city in 1741 in an attempt to take it from the Spanish. But Cartagena Mayor Dionzio Velez, ordered its removal after it was criticized by residents. They were angry that it did not mention the Spanish troops who also died. Some were gallant. No, some were. Oh, I'm sorry. Some were galled that it was placed near a statue of the Colombian hero who repelled the attack by the British. Wow, isn't that something? Local journalists and writers said the plaque glorified colonial warfare and commemorates an attack by invaders whom they described as English pirates. English pirates? You see, you don't really know the history of some of these places. You don't know how they have suffered, like so many other societies around the world, thanks to the British Empire. But now it is abundantly clear that I had no idea that the British had ever gone to Colombia. No idea whatsoever. Isn't that something? And yes, they did sanction piracy One of the ways that the empire was built was because of piracy. It was condoned. As a matter of fact, I believe Queen Elizabeth I, didn't she condone piracy, especially against the Spanish? She was okay with it, thought it was a good idea. So, um, oh Lord, oh well, leave it to Charles to make. Charles doesn't usually make mistakes like that, though. I should say that, though. Charles usually does not make those kind of mistakes. I wonder how that happened. That doesn't seem like a typical Charles mistake. So, but everybody can have a slip up. Everyone could have a slip up. Doesn't matter who you are. Okay. I think about that sometimes, what it must have been like for ancient civilizations to see something like a, a pirate ship or any other kind of, you know what I'm saying? What it must have been like to have that kicking your door in, like some of those places where they did not have any defense against disease and such. Gosh, that had to be hard. Oh well. You try to be polite and they take your land from you. Happens all the time. Oh, Joan Garcia says, Baron, can you believe it's been 31 months already? Next month for my birthday will make 32 months with Squatties and Royal Sussex, usually laughing my behind off. Well, thank you very much for 31 months membership. My goodness, 31 months. I cannot believe it. Where has the time gone? Let me see. Oh yeah, when she went there, it barely made a ripple. It barely made a ripple. Nobody noticed. When they send Sophie someplace, they usually have to send a photographer just to record it because none of the press want to go. They don't want to go. Let me see. I remember that the British and the Spanish were in the region stripping it of resources, genociding and indigenous populations, the indigenous population, and enslaving. Wow, that's terrible. Har, where's your gold? Har, where's your gold? Could you imagine those indigenous people seeing this walking up on the beach? What the hell is that? Oh, I think I've heard of this before. It's an Englishman. Hi, where's your gold? Ah, what are you? I'm an Englishman. What? Ah, an Englishman. uh, and just think somewhere right now, one of his ancestors is driving a cab in London. One of his ancestors is driving a cab in London. Hi, where are you headed? Hi. Okay, all right, let me move on. Um, hi there. And still wearing those clothes. Could you imagine what it smells like? Okay, so Cartagena mayor asked to remove controversial plaque days after unveiling by Prince Charles. Well, good idea. Get that crap out of here. Ha! Get that crap out of here. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry were not invited to join the royal family at Balmoral Castle this summer. Oh, God. Lordy. I didn't even add any pictures or anything to this. I just wanted to share with you the rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. How long have they been gone? 4 years, and they're still talking about Balmoral, that the Sussexes weren't invited. Will they go or won't they go? It's a good thing there's not a balcony at Balmoral. Otherwise, they would start off with, will they be on the balcony? Won't they be on the balcony? Will they go? Won't they go? Will Harry go alone? Will Harry not come? Will Harry and the children and Meghan come? Rinse and repeat. One of the squaddies says no to the coronation. Meghan said no to the coronation. Prince Harry, in his recent TV interview, Tabloids on Trial, he said it with his chest. He will not bring his wife back to this toxic island. So why are these MOFOs pretending that they are deaf? She gets a bell for that. Senior police officer and former black policing body chair is sacked after punching two women off duty during a discussion about Meghan Markle and race. That didn't go well, did it? That did not go well. And it doesn't hurt that the only picture they could find is this guy with this big grin on his face. It just really does not help, does it? I'm not sure what to think about that. Now, I don't condone violence. You all know that. I never condone violence. However, I am just shocked. I know. Ouch. Ouch. Well, maybe they should pick another topic. Bristol based Tola Monroe dragged a woman to the ground. That's terrible. Dragged a woman to the ground? That almost sounds like a one of those Olympic boxers, right? That sounds like an Olympic boxer dragging some poor woman to the ground. Anyway, dragged a woman to the ground before punching her in the face, and then he hit a second female. A misconduct panel was told the incident began when he was off duty and was the result of a discussion about the Duke of Sussex and race. The Duke of Sussex and race. Okay. How did Meghan come into this? Let's see. Monroe denied allegations against him and claimed he was acting in self defense. Legally qualified chair Jane Jones, who is independent of policing, ruled Inspector Tola Monroe's action amounted to gross misconduct and labeled it a terrible irony and said he had previously helped tackle violence against women and girls. Well, keep Meghan's name out of your mouth. Keep Meghan's name out your mouth, and maybe this won't happen. Leave her alone. Mm, yeah, me too. I'm glad. That's right. Instead, and you know what? You know what? I don't know how I almost missed the irony of that cookies and cream. I have been so excited about the trip to Colombia. I almost forgot about the. I didn't make that connection, but isn't it interesting that the announcement was made right before they started all that nonsense about Balmoral? Hmm. Oh man, you couldn't make this up. Oh well, um, some poor woman got wrapped in the mouth for talking about race, religion, politics. Always a touchy subject. You don't hear me talking about race every day. I'm just kidding. Uh, until it's unnecessary, I won't stop talking about it. He did a Chris Rock. Uh oh. Isn't that what Chris Rock said? Uh oh. Here come Richard. Uh oh. There goes Richard. Yep, everything was going good until somebody said, "Uh oh, there goes Richard." Uh oh, there goes Richard. Why did you say Chris Rock? Now you know I can't stop thinking about it. Uh oh, there goes Richard. Or did he say, "Here comes Richard"? Uh oh. Oh, oh my God, that was funny. Uh oh, here comes Richard. Okay. I'm not looking for it. I promise you, I'm not looking for it. Um, that was so funny, though. All right, let me take that away. Uh oh, there goes Richard. Oh, I do feel sorry for him. That was sad. That should have never happened. Um, I hate that that happened, and I'm so glad we were all able to move on, like it never happened. Um, and at the premier social event on the calendar in that industry, to have something like that happen is really disappointing, and I'm just glad it's behind us. So let me get it out of my system one more time. Uh oh, here come Richard. Oh, let's see. Lady Rose says, Barrett, I would have done worse if I was in Denmark. Thank you so much for your comment. All right. And of course, if you recall, uh, did you ever see this little illustration going around? It really started off with this one. America is already great, but they use it. Actually, I don't think this was the first one, but they have used this for a whole lot of things. So I changed it to Meghan made, and before they could finish it. So I kind of changed it myself, but there's been different versions of it. uh, but Meghan made Meghan made what was that? What were you trying to say? Oh man. Okay. Anyway, that's enough of that for now. America is already great, you idiot. Now, this is kind of touchy. So let me get serious again. Oh my goodness. This really bothered me. This one really bothered me. Army racism apology to Black poster girl soldier. Now, this young lady, she was convinced to use her image, her likeness to promote the military. And instead of her being welcomed into the military, she was gravely mistreated. Let's see, Black female soldier who fronted British Army recruitment campaign has spoken for the first time about how years of racist abuse and bullying made her life whilst serving a living hell. Have you guys heard this before? I was I was shocked. I was shocked. I mean, not so shocked, but I'm just like, come on. You know? Now, being in the military is not necessarily easy for anyone. There's all types of bullying and hazing and stuff like that that goes on in the military. But this one was particularly offensive. Terrible. Um, right here. Me, millennials, your army needs you and well, I'm just me selfie, and your self-belief. Your self-belief. Okay. So there you have it. She was mistreated, bullied. I'm going to let this play so you can hear her speak in her own words about how she was treated whilst in the military.
Has admitted that a Black soldier who fronted several recruitment campaigns had to work in an unacceptable environment where she experienced sexist and racist harassment. As well as apologising, the army has paid the soldier a substantial financial sum. Kerry Ann Knight, who left the army this year, has been talking for the first time to our defence correspondent, Jonathan Beale.
Yeah. That's the section I was in. Yeah, you spot me?
I can spot you.
Yeah.
Kerry Ann Knight always knew she'd stand out. In an army struggling to recruit both women and ethnic minorities. Were you the only Black person in there?
Yeah, I was the only a Black female.
But she joined full of hope, assuming racism had long been stamped out.
For some reason, I thought someone in uniform was going to be professional, and I was very excited to be a part of that and just creating my own family within the army.
Kerry Ann became a face for army recruitment. She knew why the army wanted to appeal to the groups she represented. But she also became a target for abuse.
I was extremely shocked because I really didn't experience such deep levels of racism. Yeah, I had to learn the hard way in the army.
It got worse when she became an instructor at Harrogate. It's where the army trains junior soldiers from the age of 16. It's controversial, not least because in the past there have been allegations of bullying. Kerry Ann says she witnessed it, but she too suffered at the hands of her fellow white male instructors.
They'd pile everything daily on my desk, so just to show me that I'm not welcomed. And I remember one day they took a photo of me just standing at that desk, looking slightly broken, just having to sort out that rubbish before I can use my desk. They'd have Django Unchained playing. They would repeat the most, say, racist lines, and then they'd chuckle. They spoke outright in the office about lynching me, simply because I'd put in a complaint. And it was suggested for me to be tar and feathered.
Rather than root out the racism, she says the army closed ranks to protect the organization.
When they tried to paint out as if I was a aggressive black woman, that was extremely tough. If it wasn't for those individuals who supported me, whether secretly or publicly, yeah, I would have been broken.
Earlier this year, she took her case to an employment tribunal. The army contested it, but as the evidence mounted, it issued an apology. It accepted Mrs. Knight had to work in an environment where she experienced racist and sexist harassment. It admitted the army failed her. In a separate statement, the MOD said it had settled the claim with no admission of liability.
I would never encourage a woman, especially of colour, to join the army, because it's not going to benefit your life in the long run.
Kerry Ann's image was used to promote a positive image of the army, that it's inclusive and welcome to all. But her harrowing experience tells a very different story. Jonathan Beale, BBC.
The British Army.
Okay. I know that was very difficult to hear, but it happened. If you think it's difficult to hear it, just imagine if you had gone through it. Again, how naive I was. As a child, I always thought, well, Josephine Baker went over to Europe and got a better chance over there than she got here. All of those black musicians and jazz musicians, black writers and artists and such, they went over to Europe because they didn't have to suffer from racism over there like they would here. Well, I had my eyes opened over the years, and just yesterday, someone asked me, one of the things I always say is that when I travel, that's the only time I ever feel really free. And they said, is that because you don't feel the racism when you travel? And I'm like, oh, the racism is there. It's always there. I feel free being away from everything familiar, right? I feel free because I conceived of a trip that I wanted to take, a holiday, a vacation, whatever you want to call it, and I made it happen. I worked and I was able to save the money, and yeah, that's what makes me feel free. But escaping racism? No. I was born in a system that don't allow you to forget. And actually, I feel terrible for younger people, younger black people, black men and women who may have had a very sheltered existence and never really heard those kind of stories or had those kind of experiences, and then travel abroad and find out, guess what? You're still black. You're still African American. Wherever you go, that's who you are. And when I first checked into a hostel, It was called the Piccadilly Backpackers. Look it up if you like. Piccadilly Backpackers. It was right there in Piccadilly Circus. Didn't know anybody in London, so I got off the train at Piccadilly Circus. I saw everybody else going that way. It seemed like a good idea. I've heard of Piccadilly Circus. I guess I'll go there. And I saw someone with a backpack, no, with a camera, right? Taking pictures. And I was like, hey, hi, could I ask you a question? Where are you staying? Which was a weird question. I'm sure he's like, just up the road. He had I don't know, maybe a Spanish or Italian accent or something. He said, just up the road. He said, the Piccadilly Backpackers. I said, is that a hostel? He said, yeah. I said, oh, okay, thank you. And so I made a beeline. I went right over there with my backpack and I checked in, right? And as I was checking in, the guy at the desk, he said, what's your nationality? And of course, I took a deep breath. My chest went out. Oh, American. Asking me that as an American, wherever I am in the world, the first time I heard that question, I didn't understand that they just wanted to know which country you're from. I thought they were asking me about my race. And so I took a deep breath because I didn't even know what word was going to come out next. But fortunately, it was, the United States, United States. So I was naive. I thought that stuff like that only happened here. Did not know that, that someone like her would suffer from something like that. And yet, they warmly and openly accepted Major Middleton, somebody who shows up wearing Lululemon stretch pants, leggings, somebody who shows up in black leggings, some high-end combat boot, right? Hiking boot, and a dizzying grin, lots of hand motions, and some sort of army jacket. They were glad to accept a grinning hyena, right? As opposed to accept someone who was there to work hard, to fit in, to represent, to fight for her country. And so when you hear people say, go back to whatever, or if you don't like it here, I don't know what the rules are, but I just assume that if you're born in a particular country, then that is your country. And moreover, if you have lived in that country, that's your country. If you have received citizenship in a particular country, then that is your country. So there's no place to go back to. That is home. But whatever her status might be, native born, foreign born, whatever, first, second, third generation, who knows? The point is, they invited her to serve. They wanted her to recruit other people of color. Why? Mistreating one person is not enough? You need more? It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace that Kate Middleton was given that role, not because she's a woman, not because she's a royal, but just that she's silly. This is all a big joke for her. And it's disgraceful. It really is. This is all a bunch of cosplaying. Everything she does is a joke and cosplay. She pretends to be interested. She pretends to care. But as evident by the fact that she's only worked on 2 occasions this year for someone her age compared to Queen Elizabeth II, someone her age that died literally the next day after she welcomed the new prime minister, who made her last public appearance 8 days before she died. She walked on the balcony 8 days before she died. Yeah, it's an insult. It is an insult. It's a disgrace. That's what it is. It's a disgrace. An absolute disgrace. I think for some reason that they picture Kate as being some type of Marilyn Monroe-like figure for those thirsty lads in the military who are homesick. That this middle-aged mom is some hot commodity. I don't know. I shouldn't put words in anybody's mouth, but I think they fancy it being a bit of a Marilyn Monroe-esque situation where all of these guys are going to swoon over her, like that scene from Diamond's Our Girl's Best Friend. Yeah, is they're going to break into some musical version of Diamond is a Girl's Best Friends, and they're going to lift Kate up, and you know, maybe I don't know if that's what they were thinking. uh but I agree. It was a waste of everybody's time. It really was. And a disgrace. In a feeble attempt to try to humiliate Harry. That's what it was. It was a feeble attempt to try to humiliate Harry. Mm. Okay. Well, anyway, let's get on with it. I got a little bit more to cover. Anyway, if you just joined us, please make sure you hit the like button. My views are down. Can you believe it? The views for Royal Sussex is down, and I think the views for everybody is down right now. And the best way to drive those views are to hit the like button so that we can stimulate the the algorithm. So that way we can stimulate the algorithm so that people will engage with Royal Sussex. So if you can, please hit that like button. But yes, the views are down. Whereas it was usually about 20,000 views per live, now it's more like 10,000 or less. Can you believe it? 10,000 or less. And it's been like that for a while. I didn't say anything, but it's been like that for a while, for about a month. So, since the Sussexes will be out and about, no doubt there will be more eyes. But until then, hit that like button, please. Otherwise, every day turns into a food truck video. I wish I could find it. I'm looking for that Kate Army video. I don't know what I named it. Oh, well. Okay, Major Middleton. Wonder if it's Middleton. Nope, that's not it. Okay. On with it then. Let's keep it moving. That looks promising. Oh, I think I found it. Yeah, but I'm not feeling shady right now. Yeah, I'm not feeling shady. Hi, Denise Marcus. It's midnight. Good night. Midnight at the Oasis. So, I just wanted to show you all something. Yes, some terrible things did happen to that young lady, and I pray that nothing like that ever happens. Oh, Marshar, I love your avatar, your profile picture, rather. I have that photo. That is Lloyd Austin on the left, and that is Charles L. Brown on the right. So, just so you know, the United States military top brass, that would be Charles Brown, and the civilian leader, that would be Lloyd Austin. Those are the two highest ranking members of the military there. On the civilian side of things, aside from the president, of course, there is the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin. And on the military, the uniform side of things, that would be Charles L. Brown. So, and I want you to listen to me very carefully when I say this. Outside of Africa, the most powerful Black community in the world outside of Africa is here in these United States. If Black people's economy, if African Americans here in the United States, if our economy was a nation, I would say we would have about the same wealth as some European nations, some African nations, some South American nations. Not the largest economy in the world, but still, there's a lot of political clout and there's a lot of financial power there. And so that's not to say that situations like what happened to that young lady couldn't happen here. There's been several losses of life within our United States military, men and women, things that should never have happened. And it doesn't give you direct protection because these two highest ranking members happen to be Black. That won't protect you from your immediate officers, those immediate commanding officers, your CO or whatever. That's not going to protect you. However, we have come a long way. We have come a very, very long way. And this is why we have to vote. This is why we have to vote. I know there's a lot of things that are disappointing, but we have to do these things incrementally. Nobody gets everything they want all at the same time. Nobody. I don't care who you are. Nobody gets everything all at the same time. But representation matters. Representation matters. Also, I want to point out that there is Harry right there with Charles L. Brown. He is sitting next to General Charles Brown, the next Joint Chief of Staff. Now, there's the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, and Coast Guard, right? So, being the head of the United States Air Force, Charles L. Brown is the highest ranking among his peers. So not only at the time when Harry sat next to him was he the highest ranking person in the United States Air Force, now he is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. It's like being the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, right? You set the agenda for the rest of the military leadership. And then, of course, you answer to two people, Lloyd Austin, who answers to the President of the United States, which very soon he may have to answer to Kamala Harris. President Kamala Harris. So we'll see, but this is why it's important to vote. Representation matters. And even if things ain't going the way that you want them to, even if you're rather upset about quite a few of the things that our leadership, our civilian leadership has gotten us involved in, meaning of which, the occasional genocide and such. I hate those things. But it's also important to remember that representation matters. So don't be discouraged by all of these people that are going to try to convince you to not vote. They're going to try to play on your anger. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. There's someone running for president who tried to steal the election in front of everyone. That could have led to the decline of financial markets, the loss of life. A whole lot of things could have gone wrong. And the only people that will hurt because of it are the poor working class people. You and me. The rich folks, well, it's something about being rich. You just keep being rich. So vote. Do not be discouraged. Just a couple of soldiers talking about life, talking about veterans, talking about using sports as a way to bring people back to their families, back to their dignity, back to their communities. That's what it's about. So anyway, our Duchess was the victim of racial intolerance, racism, she was racially abused. Her child was racially abused. Her children are continued to be abused by this notion that they don't exist, which is the most frightening thing that anyone could ever say besides, I'm going to do something to them. The most frightening thing that anybody could say is that you don't have any children. It's not that it's true. We know it's not true, but the sound of it is so upsetting. And yet no member of the royal family has ever come forward to say, listen, it ain't right. Don't say that. Don't do that. So Meghan left that abusive situation and she came back home where you have the wealthiest Black community outside of Africa. You have the most political clout of any Black community outside of Africa. It doesn't guarantee a free pass in life. And of course, that's not what Meghan wants anyway. It doesn't guarantee anything's going to be easier. But as Meghan said, I didn't expect it to be easy, but I at least expected it to be fair. I at least expected it to be fair. So that's what I wanted to say about that. After hearing that young lady's story, I just wanted to say that that's why representation matters, because having someone who looks like you or someone you love, especially someone who otherwise would have been marginalized every which way you could imagine, it makes a huge difference. Rarely does it not make a difference, like Clarence Thomas, but we don't talk about him. Tina Brown said it best. They're winning this side. They're winning this side. Tina Brown said they are winning this side, meaning that whatever's going on across the pond is going on. But as far as the United States, as far as this side of the ocean, they got this. They got this. Now, I'm not going to share a soundbite. It was disgusting. But Jobo, poor Jobo. Jobo knows better, but Jobo likes to eat, so he won't do better, right? They all know better. But at the very least, he has written a very unflattering account about Kate Middleton. It's not terrible, but it's not good either. He has kind of rehashed the whole Wadey Katie situation, but also he inferred that, well, they were all talking about this idea that Harry and Meghan have been leaking things through People magazine. Now, Richard Eaton, Maureen, she was really trying to go there. I'll say this. I have depended on the People magazine to be fair, not, great, but a fairer place than the other tabloids, right? And so I've used their material for quite a few videos. And you can't trust them outright because they're still a tabloid. They're still a tabloid. It's like a lipstick on a pig, right? It's like lipstick on a pig. It is still a tabloid. And so I was listening to Petal speak about that earlier, and it is very confusing that you have the Sussexes inviting them to go along on some of these things, and yet either, I can't even believe it, but either the information that they have shared was deliberate, or perhaps there was some rogue individual, or they just made it up, or maybe the People magazine just made it up. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like the notion that Meghan wants Harry to be free of these lawsuits. That's a discussion between them, not for People magazine. And so someone's allegedly close to them, or someone who used to work for them, has leaked this information. Well, so far, they haven't had much of leaks, if any. I can't think of a time that they've had a leak. So I don't know. I don't know. There's always a possibility, but I always defer to just trusting the Sussexes. I feel better about doing that. And yes, we're all human, but I don't. I think the things that they do are deliberate, and maybe something got taken out of context or something. I don't know. I don't know. And the idea, well, okay, they had the article that Harry and his father is not talking. Well, where did that come from? Is that made up? Or was maybe that part was meant to be there? I don't know. I don't know. Until we hear it from Harry and Meghan, let's just keep doing what we always do. Assume that it's not true. If we don't hear it from them, then it's just not true. So that's why I say it's I don't know. Uh, People magazine, they seem to be a little more trustworthy, but as I said, you could still assume that it is not true if you don't hear it from Harry and Meghan. They're not the Daily Mail. They're not the Sun. They're not the Express. They're People magazine. And a lot of the people that work for them have worked over there. That's why I say it's just like lipstick on a pig. I mean, you take a pig and you put a odd amount of lipstick on it, and it's still a pig. There's no way of getting around it. Unnamed source, people, or any other tabloid as possible. You are giving it more credibility than it deserves. None of the article is important to their lives. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Because I guess what will all right. Let's try this one then. No. How do I want to say this? Just because a publication has been dreadful in the past doesn't mean that they will never allow them to come near them again. Because People Magazine was invited to go to Nigeria. They did invite them to go to Nigeria. So doesn't mean that what they say is true and accurate, but it means that there's some kind of relationship with either Archwell Production, Archwell Foundation, perhaps maybe Invictus. I mean, Invictus does have a board, right? So perhaps maybe Invictus invited them because just like Harry took himself out of the selection process for 2027, right? Maybe Invictus, the board at Invictus, maybe they invited People Magazine. I don't know. I'm grasping. I'm grasping. Uh, but it is something to think about. Po legs, huh? Are you worried about the legs of that chair? You think the leg is about to kick out? Well, I don't suspect that there was any interview to People magazine, and it doesn't make sense. But like Petal was saying, it's kind of confusing in so many words. She said that here you have People magazine being invited to come along with them, and then yet you have this article, this very long article, as she said, and that doesn't make sense. That's what doesn't make sense. So I'm confused. I'm very confused by that. uh, Let me see. Oh wait. TT Carter says that article was not exclusive. It was regurgitated with sources. Well, thank you, TT. That is very helpful. Thank you for that. So it wasn't an exclusive. It was regurgitated with sources. Got it. Thank you very much for that. Kat Harlem says most of People's articles came from events mentioned on Oprah in Harry and Meghan docuseries or Spare. An Archwell employee heard him talking about the court cases. Those are areas aren't related. Those are areas. Those are areas aren't related. Uh, it was a BS article. Thank you so much, Kat Harlem. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is pretty straightforward that it should not be believed, but I'm just like, People magazine? I mean, they have been invited along with them. So that means that, okay, it doesn't mean trust. It just means they were invited. Or, okay, maybe it was the individual journalists at People that were invited and not someone who speaks for the entire magazine. And I'm just talking about them going to Nigeria. I thought that was very trusting of them to allow people to come along with them. They were invited to come along. That's why it's so confusing. It's like, okay, you go to Nigeria with them and now you're writing this rubbish. But thank you, Kat Harlem. Okay. Well, that settles it. That's all I had to say about it, is that I'm a little confused. Thank you, Rohini. I never trust anything that does not have a direct quote from the Sussexes. I think that should be the last word about that then, because that is accurate. It should come from them. William and Kate were petty and jealous about the British public's love for Meghan Markle. Yeah, they were very jealous, very petty. Prince William and Kate, the Prince and Princess of Wales, reportedly felt petty and jealous amid Meghan's early meteoric rise to popularity with the British public. The UK went crazy with Meghan mania when she stepped out with Harry, and to make their relationship official, the revelation galvanized the public's imagination in the UK and drew in a host of royal fans from Meghan's native United States. But the blossoming relationship caused both William and Kate to unconsciously raise their game in a declared battle for the headlines. There were even whispers of pettiness and even jealous among the public. Now, listen, they were doing pretty good until they said unconsciously. Unconsciously is not the right word. That word does not belong. Unconsciously does not belong. They were very deliberate. They were very deliberate about their assault on the Sussexes. They were very deliberate about their sudden need to do some work. They weren't interested in doing work before Harry and Meghan got there. They did the very least. Now they're trying to convince us that Kate is like some Mary Kay Ash, like she's running a makeup empire, like she's the international businesswoman, right? Like she's the Secretary General of the United Nations, and William, King of the world. They want us to believe that William tossed and turned and gnashed his teeth, trying to figure out how to deliver peace to the Middle East, how to save the planet. All of these lofty announcements that he makes about what he will do, only for it to slip under the headlines, to disappear. It gets lost in translation. Like William, who is going to cure he's going to cure homelessness with $3 million. $3 million will cure homelessness. Now, surely he didn't mean that for everyone. But remember, the government will not allow them to get political. Homelessness is political because the lack of new build properties, the lack of rent control, all of that impacts the working class consumers. And so there's no way to tackle homelessness unless you tackle that. $3 million is not going to do anything. You need big investors, or you need to give up a huge portion of your inheritance, of your inherited wealth. He lacks the charisma of his father, so he definitely can't do anything like the Dumfries house, cash farmers. He can't do anything like that. William is a talker, not a doer. Hello, Ivy here. Hello, Ivy here. Bye for now. Bye from Ivy. Bye. I love saying that. Hello, Ivy here. It is so cute. That article goes on to talk about this, and this, of course, was the Fab Four and their heads together, or whatever this situation was. And it was before they got married, actually. That's the shocking thing. They weren't even married yet. But William, as you can see, I put in very close to his face there. I enlarged it so you can see how pissed off he is. And he is pissed because history is repeating. It has repeated. A charismatic young woman with adoring fans has taken all the attention away from them. And listen, you all, do understand, between Spare, the Oprah interview, and Endgame, that really did do some damage. It really, it wasn't so much direct damage as it exposed their vulnerabilities. It exposed their vulnerabilities. And just when you thought things couldn't get worse, Kate decides to work twice in 1 year. The first 6 months of the year, she worked twice, if you can call that work. And I remember when I was saying, oh my goodness, after the coronation, they don't have anything for at least 10 or 20 years. They won't have any big events. If Camilla dies anytime soon, it will barely make a ripple. Nobody's going to care. If Charles dies anytime soon, there's going to be a lot of interest in that. But as we can see from Queen Elizabeth II, it's almost as though she never exists. What do you think is going to happen when Charles goes? It's amazing that you could sit on the throne for 70 years and the only good thing they have to say about you is that you met every American president but one and you were on the throne for 70 years and nothing else. Nothing. It was supposed to be a compliment that nobody knew what the Queen thought, right? But it's also a real losing proposition when it comes to your legacy because nobody knew what you stood for. Have you helped or have you not helped? Have you made changes or has nothing changed? We don't know because we don't know you. 70 years and we still don't know you. We are watching the decline. And you know, right now, things are moving very slow. And it may not happen in our lifetime, but when the end is near, things are going to move at a very fast pace. Very fast. So I'm not saying that this will do it because these people don't pay attention to the royal family. They're there and they're not there. And that's the only thing that keeps them safe is that they're there and they're not there. They only roll them out for ceremonies. So let me see. How much do I have left? I'm almost done, I think. Yeah, I'm almost done. I think I have about maybe 5 or 6 more slides. So William and Kate were petty and jealous about British public's love for Meghan Markle. An undeclared battle for the headlines was declared between the Fab Four, the nickname given to Prince William, Prince Harry, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, and Kate, the Princess of Wales, when they were on better terms. So some of these squatties remarked, the heir, the so-called statesman, with all of his titles, has never been personally invited to any country by any high-ranking official for any of his initiatives. I'm sure this trip, just like the Nigerian one, excuse me, is going to hurt his feelings. Keep up the good work, Harry and Meghan. I love that. That is so shady. I love it. I love it. I didn't put the name of the person who said that because, it's their Twitter account. And I don't want to drive the derangers over there. Okay. And then someone else said, this author isn't painting the Wells pair in a positive light. Interesting, the royal gossip will spill the truth eventually because they can't help themselves and they're starting to spill. That's true. That's true. I agree with that. So then one of the derangers decided to push back. Okay. One of the derangers decided to push back. Why would William be jealous? He's going to be king of England one day, while the spare will always be just that. Ha, 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 ha. And then one of the squatties said, because William knows even with the titles, he is inferior to his little brother. That is the problem when you inherit titles rather than earning them. You know it is all a joke and people don't respect you as a person. Will is awkward and weird. The emperor with no clothes. The emperor has no clothes. And then the other one replied, a title he's got because of an accident of birth, while the spare has global respect from world leaders. Your future king is not even respected in his own country. That's why they choose his battles, choose his little brother games instead of, let me do that again. That's why they chose his little brother's games instead of his two fun. So anyway, um, anyway, never mind. Well, you get what they're trying to say. So there you go. William is petty and jealous. Kate is obviously jealous and paranoid, torn apart by jealousy. Well, that article said it. And over here, People magazine. Prince William was surprised by the success of Prince Harry's Invictus Games, a degree of jealousy. British journalist Robert Jobson spoke about the brothers' relationship on an ABC News special that is streaming on Hulu. Now, Robert Jobson has always talked down to William, always. He does lift him up most of the time, but Robert Jobson is very keen to say to William, grow up and do some work. Grow up and stop being lazy. It is time to put away childish things. That is a recurring theme of what Robert Jobson has said about William. He almost chokes on his words to compliment William. He almost chokes on his words to compliment Kate. There is a degree of sincerity, a very small amount of sincerity that is leaching through. But he can't do it because he is owned by that institution. If he had the opportunity to speak his mind, which he probably never will, but if he ever took the opportunity to speak his mind, I'm telling you, there's a lot there. But he has to defer to the game. For most of them, it's natural. It's like a lazy yawn. It comes very easy. For Robert Jobson, who I think is very bright and intelligent, he has to choose his battles. And he usually chooses Charles first, Camilla second, then Kate, and then William. That is the order of importance of his criticism. Almost none for Charles, practically nothing for Camilla, but Kate and William seems to get a little bit of snark from him. Prince William found it very difficult to play second favorite to popular Prince Harry. Well, that article is from, let me see. Yeah, that is from 2017. You know, I forgot about this. Is that 2017? No, it's 2021. I'm sorry, it is 2021. Yeah, it's from 2021. I was about to say, then they weren't married yet. But yeah, they were married. I'm sorry about that. That was Meghan's Dior dress day. Marshall says William wanted because he doesn't feel Harry should have a woman like her. Remember, he was a big fan of hers from playing Rachel Zane on Suits. I bet he had many fantasies. Now, listen, I find that very difficult to believe. I mean, it's not like he's ever. Okay, you're probably right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think he has lust in his beady eyes. Yeah, you're right. I stand corrected. Let me see. Was that like something that was overheard? I don't remember that. And of course, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I do believe it very well could have happened, but I just don't remember it. I was so busy laughing, maybe I wasn't paying attention, because I'm telling you, that was one of the best weeks of my life. Them going on that Caribbean tour was like Def Comedy Jam. It was like one of those roasts. It was like it was comedy gold. I loved it. Jealous Kate and William used sharp elbow tactics to keep Sussexes in their place. Didn't work because what happened? They left. They kept them in their place so well, they left. The Prince and Princess of Wales, by the way, this is from 2022, December of 2022. The Prince and Princess of Wales grew jealous of Harry and Meghan and sought to keep the Sussexes in their place. A royal expert claims as tensions between William and his brother continue. Duchess Kate seethes with jealousy over Meghan's life and freedom. Of course they do. Icy Kate shoots daggers in glare at Meghan Markle amid tensions. An icy exchange between Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton is an indication that the Duchess of Sussex is feeling uneasy and that the new Princess of Wales is trying to freeze her out, according to body language expert. Well, this was September of 2022, and they're talking about the Queen's funeral. But I think most of the royal family were pretty crappy at the time. Kate in particular, as well as Ford Fiesta. And right here, Prince William is a bit envious of Prince Harry's lifestyle, sources claims. Now, I could not find the date of this article. Could not find the date of it. But you have a very clean-shaven Harry and a very, well, not very, but somewhat full head of hair on William. So I don't know if they just used this old photo for the article or was this after the Sussexes left. I don't recall. But oh well. But still, it's true. It is true. It has always been true. But the Royal Rota cannot report the actual truth because they can't say anything bad about William per invisible contract. William is the bread and butter for that institution in the future, that is. William is going to be the gift that keeps giving. The only thing that can go wrong is if the public loses interest. Now, I heard a statistic, and maybe you all heard it too. This statistic was about the presidential election. They said 20 million baby boomers have died since the 2016 election. 20 million electorate, meaning people that vote, have died since 2016. So in what is that, 18 years? No, not 18 years. What am I saying? 8 years, right? 2016. Gosh, it seemed like it was so long ago. Well, anyway, a lot of people have died in that amount of time. And so that means 20 million less people to vote. And out of that 20 million, how many do you think voted for Donald Trump? How many do you think voted for Donald Trump? Wait a minute. I forgot. No, that wasn't the statistic. Well, anyway, it was since 2016, though, that so many people have died. The thing is, the younger generation are going to have a louder voice than ever. There are so many more baby boomers are gone, right? And there's so many more younger people who are of voting age. And one of the real big things that's happened in the past, let's say, 3 presidential elections, more young people have voted every time. They have been so politically active because of social media. Both parties didn't care if the younger generation would vote because most votes came from the baby boomers. But now there's fewer baby boomers and more millennials, or is it Gen Z or millennials that will be voting than ever before. Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, younger people are coming of age. And that is what's going to make a difference. And 65% of them are going to vote blue. They are left leaning. They are going to vote blue. They're not voting red, they're voting blue. And that is why the Republicans, American Republican Party, that is why they are so anxious, because every day the numbers are less and less in their favor. And the population that they could depend on in the past is literally dying off. And the same thing goes for the royal family. The population that was so supportive of them in the past, they're dying off. They're dying off. The royalists who remember them from the war, a lot of them are long gone. And the post-war, the baby boomers, who still feel the same connection that their parents felt, guess what? They're dying off too. They're upside down when it comes to support. They're underwater. The last time they took a solid poll, 48% of people supported the royal family, and 52% either said no, they didn't care, but they were not for them, which means that their support is underwater. That's never happened before. And it's only going to get worse by the day. So they are in a lot of trouble. And they seem to labor under this assumption that these young people will like them more if they keep going after the most popular royals on the planet, Harry and Meghan. It is the equivalent of shooting yourself in the foot. And they keep doing it. And what is the definition of insanity? That is the definition of insanity. They keep doing it to themselves. Harry and Meghan are over here. Harry is over here with his military family. Meghan is home. And as Mark Cuban said, they will earn $1 billion in their lifetime. They will earn $1 billion in their lifetime. They have every ingredient they need to make it. And as far as I'm concerned, they haven't put a foot wrong. Anybody who could establish themselves as well as they have through a global pandemic with an army of so-called journalists working against them, with MAGA Brexit baby boomers going after them every day on social media and such. If they could survive that, including the British government constantly getting in their business about where they go and who they talk to when it comes to other countries, if they can do as well as they have done with all of those odds against them, what could stop them? All they have to do is be consistent. That's it. Just be consistent. Keep making the same type of moves that you're making, and they'll be fine. It's the other ones that need to worry. It's not like the royal family is going to end tomorrow, but their popularity is going to make it more difficult for them to justify their existence, which means that when William takes the throne with all of his energy, when he takes the throne and the right people get in his ear and tell him things that he should and should not do and all the mistakes that he's going to make, just like he did on the Caribbean tour, they're not going to be any better off. They may not be any worse off, but they're certainly not going to be any better off. Their numbers are going to keep going down. They have gotten so many more people to sign up to Republic. I couldn't help but notice this earlier. King lost sense of taste. Well, I think he crossed that bridge long before the cancer diagnosis. I'm going to say he lost his taste back in the 1970s when he met someone by the name of Camilla Strand, was it? Camilla Strand? When he took up with that Camilla chick, that was when he had a loss of taste. Fast forward to 1981, and he marries a beautiful aristocrat named Lady Diana Frances Spencer. Okay, his taste is improving, right? Wrong, because he still was holding on to that lumpy sack of potatoes called Camilla Parker Bowles. When she moved on, you should have let her go, stupid. So I look at that headline and I'm just like, King lost sense of taste. No, the Prince of Wales lost sense of taste. The Prince of Wales lost all reason and accountability when he took up with that sack of potatoes, that bag of potatoes in a sack called Camilla Parker Bowles, and that you would push and scheme and throw your kids under the bus to try to make sure that you could be with her. And I don't even want to think about what happened to Diana. I'd hate to believe that that was part of it, but until we know better. But yeah, you know, he would have been better off if he would have married her, the pirate. He'd been better off with the pirate. Prettier anyway. Look at that. Look at there. But yeah. But instead, he decided to get with that big sloppy mess. Yes, and not even the best in show. Thank you so much, Legs, for the super chat. I mean, if you're going to go that direction, then you may as well have the best in show. I mean, that is a mouthful, lost sense of taste. Sure have. That is a monumental understatement. You know, I cannot help myself. There are some days when I'm just like, it was very different when Elizabeth was here. It was very different. At least things were consistent. But now you just don't know what kind of mess is going to appear on your television screen. You know, I think the pattern of that dress. Do you remember the that thing that little logo that they used for the coronation I think that that is it. But I don't think that one should have made a pattern out of it and worn it, because from a glance, from a distance, it looks like one of those house dresses from F.W. Woolworth's. But then again, anything she wears looks like it comes from F.W. Woolworth's. Mm-mm-mm. Queen, big sloppy mess. The Queen, big sloppy mess. And got the nerves to smile. Lost sense of taste. Lost dignity, as far as I'm concerned. Not only has he lost his taste, he's lost his dignity. It's amazing how many different creatures that you can top with that head and neck, and it seems like it belongs. Isn't that incredible? You can top any type of fowl, any type of primate, any type of anything, any vertebrae. You can plop that head on it, and it seems like that's the way it was evolved. That was natural selection. Oh, oh well. So the other day I mentioned the Last Supper, but somehow I neglected to include this one. Out of all the Last Suppers, this is the one that, to me, that looks the most ridiculous, and that is the one where you take the Princess of Wales and you put her in a room full of thinking people, people of education, people of quality and refinement, and you sit her at the head of the table, perfectly framed by those gilded doors, so that they create some type of Last Supper situation, as though she's the most important person in the room. She's the most protected, but not the most important, because those people got real work to do. She's only there because she married that accident of birth, and that's it. See how they play on iconographies and images and such? They play on those things. It is a subtle form of gaslighting to make you believe that she is so superior and so knowledgeable and worthy, when the truth is, even at that moment, she was barely making it. And you can tell when she don't understand the conversation, because that head start listing to one side. That's when you know she don't have a clue what they're talking about. That's when you know she'd rather hurry up and get back to, well, anyway, he's not around anymore, but she wants to get back to somebody or something or something. I think what she wanted to get back to died under mysterious circumstances. Maybe they say, possibly. And as for the United States, I found this photo today. I had this for some time and forgot I had it. By the way, this is the last slide that I have. I had 71 slides today. I cannot believe it. 71. That is the Statue of Liberty waking up from a nightmare. And the nightmare was Donald Trump. The Statue of Liberty wakes up and realizes it was all just a bad dream. So hopefully we don't have to have another nightmare. Hopefully, if people get out and vote blue, we'll never have to have that nightmare again. I thought this was kind of cute, right? You got Michelle Obama, uh, Kamala Harris, um, Nancy Pelosi, and Uncle Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and Charles Schumer. Yeah, Charles Schumer. Yeah. Yeah, her head is listing to one side. Remember when the Andrea Doria was sunk? It was torpedoed or whatever. It started listing to one side. That's what it reminds me of. It looks like a ship just before it slips under the waves. Okay, you guys, that's it. Thank you. Thank you, moderators, as always, the Mod Squad. And thank you for your very thoughtful and generous contributions and donations to Royal Sussex. Please hit that like button. Views are way down. The views are way down for everybody. They're way down. I don't know about the hate channels, but the views are down. So please hit that like button. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you have not subscribed, please do. Even if you're hate watching, we need your subscription. That way you'll know exactly where to go to let some steam off, right? Okay. All right. Love you guys. I will see you all tomorrow. I love your tomorrow. You're only a day away.
I just don't get it. I don't get any of it.
What do you mean? You don't get what?
I don't get why we're so obsessed with these humans that are exactly the same. Like, it could be us four sitting there. I just don't get it.
But are you talking about what you mean as royals or as, like, Kim Kardashian? Because for me, they're becoming celebrities.
Well, to me, that's all they are.
The Queen
is their celebrity.
For me, is brilliant.
I love the Queen.
No, duty, responsibility.
She's always worked really hard, hasn't
I would
she?
work hard if the whole country paid for me to have like 12 houses and work really hard.
They don't pay for all of the houses. But
just a few.
was it look, Meghan?
You're looking amazing, Meghan.